Welcome back to Actual Proper Podcast. I'm Reece Farkash, and you are Twila Amato, and you are the listeners.
Sorry, that made me laugh.
I kind of threw it in unexpected there.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Anyway, well, hello again. I think we're really trying to get back on the on a more consistent schedule.
Once a week.
Yeah. So we're really trying hard.
It's so weird that it's actually once a week right now. Because it was the 31st was our last episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it when Halloween's the 30th or the 31st?
31st.
And it's the 6th as of recording today.
Okay.
That's less than a week.
Okay, look, we're not trying to jinx ourselves here. We're not so we're just gonna keep going at it, try to build the habit back again.
Yeah, and we're also doing a lot of new stuff too, so a lot of creative stuff is flying around right now.
Yes, absolutely.
So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, first and foremost, of course, days are getting shorter, or rather daylight is getting shorter, and a lot of us are probably staying at home more often, because pandemic. But I figured we could talk about things that get back on the recommendations things. So what are we liking?
Mm-hmm. So this
these
whole
days?
episode, you mean, is going to be kind of like
Let's share the
recommendation
things that we've been
segment?
liking.
Okay.
Yeah. So what have you been liking lately? What have you been reading lately? What have we been doing lately?
Mhm.
Because so again with COVID, there's not a lot of activities that we can do. So instead of going out and stuff like that, maybe we can talk about new hobbies that we've picked up. So yeah, anyway, let's talk about maybe TV shows that we've been liking lately. So Reece, what have you been liking?
It's really cool because it's actually the season two premiere of The Mandolorian, which happened a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
And also a couple of weeks back, it was also the season 6 premiere of Superstore.
Is it season 6 or season 5?
Season 6.
Okay.
And those are our two favorite-ish shows.
They're
so it's
amazing shows.
It's such a good time right now
no
for
spoilers,
TV at
though.
least. Yeah, no spoilers, but in broad strokes, they've both been incredible. And
So far, yes.
yeah, to start off with Superstore first, it's been so meta and also kind of depressing because there's only been 2 episodes out so far, and the first one deals very heavily with coronavirus and kind of like the day in, day out aspect of retail workers.
Yes.
And the second episode deals with it. It's still it's more in the background, but it's definitely still there. So it brings up a lot of stuff that is just, I think,
so
too real.
Yeah. Well,
too real.
The thing that I really appreciate about it is obviously with sitcoms like this, workplace sitcoms, they showcase, again, workplace drama, workplace trials and tribulations, kind of situations. But with Superstore, you don't always see, I guess, minimum wage workers put in the forefront of a show, right? Because these are, and this is very, very true, that these are people who have, lives outside of Walmart or, whatever other big box store, say.
Yeah.
And they have dreams, and maybe some of those dreams didn't work out, as is the case in, say, like Jonah, where he was trying to pursue other things, but they didn't work out. And so now he's just trying to find his way, and now he's working this job, And so I really like it for that, but I also really like it, and again, with season 6 now, and it being so timely and being set in 2020 and set in COVID times, I just felt like, oh wow, this is exactly what they're going through. There's this scene, and this is probably a spoiler if you haven't seen it, but it's also not a spoiler because you see this all the time if you go grocery shopping or whatever. But a character, Sandra, was wiping down carts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is from the recent episode.
This is the most recent episode, and there's this shopper who, was just like, oh, are these all wiped down? And then she just proceeds to basically pick out,
just touch everything,
a
basically.
buggy, and touch everything. And there's Sandra, and she's just like, ma'am, you're just touching everything, and basically just like appended all the work that she did for like maybe the last hour or so.
Yeah, of sanitizing.
Well, yeah, which is really, really difficult. And so I just wanted to say props to our essential workers out there. Props to, just grocery store workers who are sanitizing all the baskets, all the carts and stuff like that, because it is not easy, especially when you get someone like that customer who's just like, oh,
right.
this is a squeaker. Oh, this buggy has like wobbly wheels. And this is why I try not
saying buggy, but I think you mean cart.
Yes. A shopping buggy.
What?
Some people call it that.
No one calls it that.
Okay, well, anyways.
That's so bizarre.
But what I'm trying to say is, yeah, and this is why, I try not to be a jerk when I go to the grocery store.
Right, which is like, for the past whole pandemic, I basically have it so hardwired into me to never touch anything. Like if we're walking down the aisles or in a store, like absolutely nothing. But then, it's easy to forget and to like accidentally touch something, and then you're like, well,
it's also, a lot of it is also force of habit, right? Because I am, and we all know this, I am a person of habit. I'm a creature of habit. And
you also like feeling like the textiles.
I also
really,
really like feeling things. So yeah, interesting textures and stuff like that. And, I used to do this. Now I can't really do it, but I used to go to, to makeup aisles, makeup stores to feel the texture of, like makeup and other things like that. But I can't do that anymore.
And stuff.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore. You go to Sephora and it's just like staring at the makeup. And what's the point in that? There's no fun in that. The fun in makeup shopping is getting to swatch all the stuff. But now you can't do that because of, obviously like hygiene reasons. And it's just like, that's sad, dude. Anyway, that's just totally
a glimpse
a segue.
Into, like,
not
the
even
reflection of what Superstore has been conveying recently.
Yes, exactly.
But
it's been
society,
really, really good.
I really, really praise them for that, because it's not easy to write that into a season, because of course they already had like a season of television planned by the time they started production, and for it to already be out now, like it was in production.
Right.
Around the start of, I don't have hard details, but I can assume it's around the start of the pandemic, and for them to change up all that writing
and
an
adapt.
entire season,
yeah, for sure,
and sets and everything, like that's well done. They put in a lot of effort. So
yeah, I think so. I think they
really
are doing really well. Yeah, for sure. I think they've done really well, and I really, really appreciate this season so far.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to more. But generally, Superstore has just been a very, very good show. It's one of those shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's been really good.
When does that come back?
I don't know. Well,
I haven't heard anything about it.
Well, with all the uproar and obviously the issues
the
that's
social
come
rights,
to the
activism.
That's come to the surface. It's not really a show that is easy to put back out there, especially a show that stars cops that, don't get me wrong, they're good cops, but it's the system that they're working with, right?
Right.
And that's
but
been
I think
the
there's
problem.
enough separation the average person can understand
for sure.
that, it's a TV show, and it's always been...
And it's been a very, very good show, and it's been...
it's not like they had those kind of themes ever brought up in the
exactly.
show. It's just a piece of fiction.
It's been... it's won Emmys, I believe, right?
I assume so.
Yeah, but it's also, it's always been a very forward-thinking show.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't doubt that they'll be able to make a turnaround out of all of this. You know what I mean? Like they'll produce.
Of course, yeah, they're going to address it, but
for sure.
As for when, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's up in the air. But a lot of productions are up in the air right now. Anyways,
well, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what's another show?
We're a little closer to a vaccine, though. So,
what's another show that you're watching?
Anyway, The Mandalorian. It's 2 or 3 episodes in by now.
2 episodes in, yeah.
And holy man, we watched the first episode. Holy man, what a strong start. Yeah. I think that first episode is honestly my favorite out of any episode of the show so far. What a strong start for entering a season. Like, of course, productions typically try to have that huge, strong start, but they actually absolutely crushed it. They blew like the last season out of the water. It was so good.
It's really, really good.
It was such a traditional Western with a giant monster, but it was so good.
It's
they
definitely
did such a good job blending the genres.
It's definitely back in the vein of Star Wars, right? Like with the giant monsters and stuff like that. The Star Wars that we know.
Sure, it was always pretty Star Wars, but
yeah, but I felt more Star Wars like
it had more character
this one,
in this
mostly because
really?
I guess probably because it was in Tatooine, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's probably the biggest
if you ask
part
me,
of
we
it.
could use less of that.
All right, well,
less of
anyway.
Tatooine across and Jakku and all those things. It was you
It
this
was me.
time.
Shoot, sorry.
You're the
Well,
one with the phone notification.
Okay, well, it was the news.
I just turned off my sound right now.
I'm so sorry about that. It was the news. It was the BBC, actually.
What's going on in the BBC?
Well, we are going to win this race, quote unquote. Joe Biden addresses the nation as his U.S. election lead widens over Donald Trump. So that's another thing that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that thing.
It's been going on for so long that
I feel like...
out of everything, I don't know if I have the brain power to keep on going with it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm at this point.
It's just not moving.
It's
for
not
so
even...
long.
I mean, I have been feeling definitely, some kind of like pandemic fatigue with all the coverage that we've been doing of the pandemic, but also election fatigue because for me at this point, this has been going on for like a couple of months now.
Yeah. Because of our local
because
elections.
of our provincial elections here and covering that. And I honestly, I'm not a political person in general, but also more so as a journalist, I hate covering politics. I hate it so much, and yet for some reason politicians like contacting me and like getting into interviews with me, but whatever, that's fine. But you don't like
the election night coverage.
No, so election night coverage I absolutely despise.
It's so stressful. It's crazy.
So stressful. I mean, don't get me wrong, I work well in that environment, but I still hate it because the days after that and even the weeks after that, I just feel perpetually tired because it's this whole big crash because
that you
it's
build
such
up for like a month.
Yeah, you have such a big lead up and then like just a crash, and it's so hard to rebound from. And I feel like the older I get, and I guess the longer I'm a reporter, it's just harder to get out of it. You know what I mean? And now with this election too, it's been very, very difficult.
See, I liked our elections when we were working at the radio station and we were the coverage team. I was the broadcasting side and you were the news. You did everything and I just talked about it. I just talked about all the work you did.
Yeah.
I was just the color commentator.
You were also our board op though.
Yeah, I was also the board op, and I really like those times also because I don't have to do anything. I just did my normal thing of talk on the radio briefly and then board op. It was nothing for me, but
sure.
I like the election nights. I'm not a fan of election weeks where nothing happens like this one.
Well, I mean,
holy man,
it's not even that nothing happens. A lot of
nothing is happening.
A lot of it is very behind the scenes, right? That's the hard part. And I think
yeah, but I want that instant gratification. I want to see that graphic. I want to.
You're the worst.
Nevada,
PA,
NC.
But it's also, I think that's what's exhausting about it, knowing the behind the scenes and how much goes into planning coverage, but also, execution and stuff like that. It's just very, very, very difficult. So honestly, all my thoughts and prayers to my fellow journalists covering this, because it is hell covering elections, especially when it's gone this long, but also especially when it's as divisive as the American type of politics you get.
And even our elections in Canada for like prime minister and stuff aren't as big. It's still the biggest elections we have, but it's not as crazy big as America's.
Well, no.
But also I wasn't working in broadcasting at the time, so I never covered that. I wonder how much more crazy it would be. I don't think it would be too crazier. I think it would just be the same thing
it was pretty.
We always did.
It was pretty tame. I mean, you were working in federal elections. The last one we had.
When was the last federal election?
2019.
Oh yeah.
So last year. It was last year, October.
Did we cover that too?
Yes, we did.
Oh.
That was when we were working in the radio station.
Oh, never mind.
That's how not memorable elections are in Canada.
It was last year. It was exactly 1 year ago.
That's the thing, though, right? Is a lot of...
Well, nothing bad has happened.
Well,
so it's not really...
not that nothing bad has happened, because trust me, there's been a bunch of things that's happened with this government.
It's
currently
been
but
devastating.
what I'm saying is, no, it hasn't been devastating. And I mean, Canada, in general, is very tame compared to, say, the US, right? And at least in my recent memory anyway, or rather my, I guess my adolescent memory, Canada hasn't really had a leader that's been very, like, outwardly racist or homophobic or misogynistic or disrespectful or even just a liar, really. You know what I mean? And so I think that's just never been an issue.
It was all behind doors.
Right.
Behind closed doors.
Which is, I don't know if that's worse or not, because there's a lot of...
True. A lot can get done behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of things, right? So, but I mean, to each their own, but also we all have our different problems. It's just that Canada on the outside just is a little more polite, I think. Anyways, that was not about
that was a wild tangent.
And yeah.
Well, we were talking about the Mandalorian.
We were talking about Mandalorian, yes.
And I don't know.
Yes, anyways.
Well, anyway, what's the next recommendation?
Oh, well, I think that I
recommend the Mandalorian, by the way.
If that wasn't obvious. I've been rewatching 16 lately. So 16.
Mm-hmm. Oh, as have I. As have I.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So 16, to those who don't know, was a Canadian television animated series, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. And it aired on Teletoon. Mm-hmm. And it's basically about 6 teenagers, all aged 16. And they're all basically just dealing with, obviously, being teens, first crushes, or I guess first loves kind of situations, first jobs and first heartbreaks, that kind of situation. And it's
growing up.
Really,
it's
really
a coming of age show.
It's a coming of age show. It's really, really good. I remember it.
But it's so relatable. It's not like a traditional coming of age show.
Yeah.
It's so relatable.
It's relatable, and it's also, well, for its time, it was really forward thinking.
Oh yeah, it was so progressive.
It was very progressive. But it's also, I remember when I first watched it, I was 13. So, and I had just come to Canada when it started airing.
Oh, that's cool.
So, I was just like, oh, wow, look at these teenagers. They're so grown up. Yeah. And I'm just like, is this what it means to be Canadian?
They're adults.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, Canadian teens get jobs at big malls. Holy crap. That was my big, like,
they're so chill about it.
Yeah, and they're so chill about it.
They have such a glamorous life.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, white teenagers, they're cool. This is seriously what I thought about. And it's funny because it's actually a diverse cast of characters. Yeah. Even the background characters are quite diverse. So in that cohort of 16,
yeah, the core group,
there's one Asian kid, Nikki Wong, and there's a Hispanic boy, Jonesy. But Nikki definitely
Jonesy Garcia
resonated with me, and I was
you didn't even mention Wyatt Williams.
Yes, there's also Wyatt.
Wow.
But I'm talking about who I resonated with the most, and that was Nikki.
Okay. Because
Nikki was what I felt like inside, that punk rebellious teen with purple hair, even though, like, on the outside, I was so nerdy. I was really, really skinny and, like, really scrawny in high school. Like, literally, I looked like a pencil with, like, joints. And I was wearing big glasses. I was wearing retainers. Man, I was ugly. But on the inside, I felt like a Nikki. That's all I wanted to say.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
But it's a really good show, honestly. And looking back at it, I'm just like, oh wow, like that was very, I guess, formative.
I think it's honestly the best thing Canada has ever produced media-wise. I honestly do.
Just for Laughs is pretty good, generally. I mean, lately, though, it hasn't been all that good. It's been really crass. So
lately, for the past over a decade and since its conception.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good, but it's also
Just for laughs.
okay. Maybe my tastes are terrible. Sorry.
If we're thinking about the same thing, which there was different Just for Laughs things.
Yeah.
It's not just one show. It's a few different things. But anyway, keep on going. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, no. So 16. It's also just a really good kind of like trip down memory lane sometimes. For me, where it's just like, oh my gosh, yes, I remember that.
It is such a throwback.
Yeah, I remember that episode. I remember that thing that they did. It's
they had
just
so
much
many
fun.
life lessons.
Yeah, for sure. And
in such like a good way that you're like, didn't even know that they were a life lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they were.
Yeah, but
and so many different kinds of people too.
Yeah, in
like these are the kind of
too.
people you'll meet in your life. You have like the coaches of the world. You have like the clones working at the khaki barn. You have like
welcome to the khaki barn.
Just everyone in that show. I could name literally every single person. It's just such a good representation of just the
people.
Society? I don't know. I don't want to say society because it's just so lame.
No, but I do think it's very I guess I would like to say that it is a good representation of, I guess, like Canadian kids, right? Canadian teens, because again, they're just so diverse and so I guess progressive, right?
Sure.
So so I do recommend that to anyone who would like to check that out as 16.
Yes. So Nelvana, which is the company that produced 16, they have a YouTube channel of their own called Retro Rerun. Sorry, I slur my words. Retro Rerun, if that helps. And they posted the whole show on YouTube for free for really no reason. They have a lot of their shows there, and it's like... Dude, you didn't have to. That's so amazing.
But you did.
If you want to go check them out for free, they could have easily put them into license them to a streaming service or literally anything, or just not done it. But they just put it up on YouTube for free with like good production value, and go check it out. Retro Rerun.
Yeah, check it out for sure. So another thing, of course, is now that we're staying in more often, I figured a lot of us have probably picked up new habits as well. So I mean, what have you been into lately? What have I been into lately?
To start off, I've been into something really cool lately, and it's I finally put something on my YouTube channel. That's Reece Farkash on YouTube. I put up my first ever video, which is I play Final Fantasy 1 and 2 for the first time ever, and it was a lot of fun. It took me a while to make, just because there was a lot of editing that I haven't done in at least a year's time. Sure. So rusty going into it, but I was happy to get some of that rust off, and I thought it turned out pretty fun. So, and I really liked it. So if you want to go check it out, that's Reece Farkash on YouTube.
So you've been flexing your creativity.
Yeah, if you like
skills.
video games, at least. If you don't like video games, it's not going to be interesting. Right. Because it's about a video game from like 1987, so it's really retro. But,
so you've been flexing your creative skills.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what I've been doing for like the past week or so, and I'm eager to continue the train.
That's awesome.
So if you want to follow it, subscribe to the channel. I don't know. I don't know what else I'm going to post there. Guru. So, what are you getting into recently?
I haven't really been getting into. Well, I feel like I've definitely been more into nail art recently. I feel like I've been improving my skills there that way. I've always been into nail polish. It's like, I mean, it's just like makeup but for your nails, So I've always been really into it, but I've never really had, or rather made the time to do that, because it does take a while. But I've definitely been into that lately, and just another way, like creative outlet basically, besides painting stuff on my face. I paint them on my nails, so that's been really, really relaxing.
Do you have any pictures on social media at all that people could check out?
No, because I'm too shy.
Okay. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day I'll have something to plug. But I feel like for me right now, it's definitely a, just a me endeavor. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've gotten compliments on my nails lately for sure. Like coworkers being like, "Oh, that's cute," or, I've had actually someone I was interviewing.
Yeah,
was like,
some people you didn't know.
Yeah, was just like, "Wow, those are cute nails." So I'm just like, "Gee, thanks." I won't vote for you, but thanks.
Nice try.
Nice try. But so nail art and just nail polishes, I guess in general, I've really gotten back into it, and I've been it's been really relaxing, surprisingly. It's, I guess, just a chill thing to do, you know, and forces you to slow down. So that's really good.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. And
yeah, well,
is that it for this week?
That was
less
it.
than a week's episode? Wow,
that's
so
all
much content.
That's all we wanted to talk about. We just wanted to check back in, and again, just get back on the horse and get back into the swing of things, right? So.
Flex those habit muscles.
Heck yeah.
All right. Peace.
Peace.